My name is Yash, and I'm the founder of Positive. The idea of Positive is to create a strong community of everyone who's part of the pet care industry. Our sole motivation is to educate our pet parents. Now, keeping this in mind, we have decided to start with a new show called The Pet Pet. On this show, we would be inviting different guests across different areas of expertise, discussing varied topics that would be related to our pets and animals. On the first episode today, we have Dr. Swati from the Pet Well Clinic from Hyderabad. I hope you enjoy the show and stay tuned because we are going to bring you exciting topics and content going forward. I hope you have a good time. Thank you.
So, uh, hello and welcome to the show. We have started a show called The Pet Vet, which is targeted towards addressing various topics related to our pets and animals that we have. So, Dr. Swati, welcome. And I would like to know a little more about you and your journey and your decision to becoming a veterinarian. So, because it's kind of a selfless deed that you do. So, why don't you tell me a little about yourself?
So, hello, and I'm very happy to be a part of this, the Pet Vet, and I'm Dr. Swati. So, I graduated from College of Veterinary Science, Rajendra Nagar here in Hyderabad, and I graduated in 2008. And yes, I came into the veterinary field because I usually come from a very orthodox family, and I used to have a pet in my childhood, and taking care of the pet was a big challenge because we used to stay in a very remote place, and where the access of the medical facility was a question mark back then. So that made me, little concerned, to pursue this veterinary, and then yeah, that's how I came into this profession.
Perfect. It's great. Great story. Okay, so my next question to you would be like, how do you see the veterinary? Like, it's been quite a few years since you started practicing yourself. So, like, how have you seen the veterinary field evolve in the past few years?
Yeah, actually, there is a huge, transformation. Like back in the days, and now the scenario has changed a lot. And earlier we used to see only, the chicken, like poultry in the households, sheep and goat and cattle. There used to be only, much focus on the livestock. And, the canine sector was very, very, very minimal. Only the people who are more passionate about the pets used to have back then. But now the scenario has changed. And we know that, the humans are bonded with animals and plants, they form the ecosystem. So this is an ancient age-old this thing that human is more attached to the animals. But now we
Right.
can see the urbanization. We can see more number of people in a small limited places, and they are living in the apartments, and their acceptance towards animals has changed. Now people are more showing interest in having a turtle or a tortoise. They are interested in having birds. They are interested in having a toy breeds,
Right.
as per the comfort
Right.
of their living lifestyle. So I could see a great transition from past to the present.
Right. Okay. But like, would you say that, having turtles or tortoises or hamsters, people have, like, I know a few people who would also be interested in keeping snakes, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, like this line of exotic animal, like, has certainly evolved. But when it comes to dogs and cats, they are, still more prevalent in our society, and uh, they people still prefer going to them. But like, how does one decide about which pet to probably choose, and or is it only just the needs or the requirements that one particular person would have?
Yeah, so what you said is correct. It depends upon the person interest, number one, and the financial stability that the person holds, number two, and also how much time and space they can give to that pet. So you cannot have a Great Dane or Saint Bernard in an apartment because the
Right.
space is constrained. Yes, and so when you have an individual house and farmhouse, and also the purpose of the pet. I mean, if you're having a guarding animal or if it is a service dog, it depends upon the situation. Now I could see a lot of pets being recommended for the emotional therapies, we could say, or for the service as matter. There are service dogs as well, and we can also
Right.
see the dogs in the police department because they play a major role in detecting the grenades, bombs, and the drugs as well. So it
Correct.
depends, yes, from the person point of view to the department point of view, it depends on what purpose you actually need. So through this, we can go through, the choices.
Perfect. Which is your favorite animal or breed as a veterinarian?
Definitely, it's a dog.
More friendly, always more friendly.
Yes,
Okay.
I have
So,
I have a couple of dogs, so yeah, I love them a
oh,
lot.
okay. So you are a pet parent yourself as well.
Yes.
Oh, great. Fantastic. So, ma'am, moving on to like the main topic of the day, which is, basics of pet nutrition. So this is targeted majorly towards, pet parents who are new to, or who must have just got a pet home, or people who would have older pets as well, right? So now addressing this particular topic, my first question to you would be like, what are the most necessary nutrients for young puppies, kittens, or any other young exotic animal that you have just brought home?
So the most important nutrients, like we all know, they are like fats, vitamins, proteins, and then vitamins, minerals, and water. So these are the most essential nutrients that is required not only with the pets but also with the humans and birds or livestock or whatever it is. But the density of the nutrients is something which matters because the puppies need, like 12 times more nutrition than a human baby. And puppies and dogs, they need more protein when compared to the adult and senior dogs. So it depends upon the stages of their lifestyle and the breed they are in and the size of the dog. So this is something which matters. So yeah, I would say the life stages they are going through, I think we need to change the food as well.
Perfect. Perfect. And do you have any misconceptions to clear? Like, I'm sure like a lot of pet parents would be coming to you with their preconceived notions of what is to be given to a young puppy or a kitten. Then is there any kind of such information that you would like to clear just by answering this through this question?
Yes, I mean, you're asking the what is that we need to feed to the different
Yes,
stages.
yes. So just for clearing out the air about certain facts that that can be kept forth to the audience that will be watching this.
Yes, so it depends upon, when a puppy is born, usually they are nurtured through the mother's milk. So when a puppy is, orphan or the mother is going through some, disease condition, then it is our responsibility to change the mother's milk to the milk replacer that is available. Usually the orphan puppies are fed with the milk replacer that are available. And also, when after the puppy stage, we need to change the food to the starter stage because starter is something which is, it is dense in nutrients, it is rich in the protein content is high because the puppy needs, as I told you, more protein, and they need more dense nutrients in order to grow of the muscle mass and growth of the teeth, bones, and hair as well. So
Correct.
the body usually 23 to 25% of the protein intake is taken to maintain the hair, the coat of the skin of the animal. So, we have to change, we have to choose a food which meets all the requirements of the, different stages of the animal. When we speak about the puppy and we have to change, in the junior stage, we could say that we have to transition, we have to change the food from starter to the puppy. And the energy demands are high when compared to the adult stage because puppy is always exploring, wants to, play, and the energy needs are high. So yes, we need to change the food as we have to shift to the puppy food. And you asked about some misconception. So I would say, there is a misconception that if you're feeding the puppy food to the adult dog,
Hmm.
something is doing good to the animal, but in contrary it
Hmm.
is not, because
Oh,
feeding something like puppy food, the dense nutrients to the adult dog is something which is fatal, because adult dog only needs nutrients only to maintain, the growth is stopped, so they do not grow further, and they need the nutrients only to maintain the organ system, maintain their immunity levels, and to maintain the natural body system.
right.
So when you are feeding the dense nutrients, so something which is there is a saying in our Indian scenario, even the excess is toxic.
Correct. Right.
So, and also the same lies with the senior dogs as well. So we cannot feed adult dog to the senior dogs, because the
Right.
senior dogs will be compromising in their organ functioning, and the immunity levels and metabolic levels are changing.
Right.
So we need more dense nutrients in order to maintain that organ healthy, and stability of the tissue, and immunological immunity. So that stage of food is different. So I think pet parent has to talk about this to their concerned vet when they make a vet visit. I think they need to discuss this. This is the most important thing.
And is it similar in, for birds as well? For birds
Yes.
or
Yes, of course, it is the same for the birds as well, because even for birds, when we talk about this poultry or whatever the bird it is, the formula feed is different in the chicken stage.
correct?
And
Hmm.
even for the layers, when we speak about the poultry, so the egg laying animal need a different kind of nutrients, and the broiler chicken that we usually consume, so they need to have a rapid growth, muscle mass, so the nutrient requirements and the food formulation is different for them as well. So that the same thing falls for the macaws, same thing falls for the budgies, or whatever the bird, or in fact the reptiles. So so I would say that there is a checklist in the Basawa guidelines. I would encourage,
Hmm.
I could share you some of the websites where a pet parent can go and
Sure,
see
please.
too. Yes, so that the checklist is most important. It's not like feeding something which is locally available in the home or in the market. No, that is not. So the nutritional guidelines are different for each and every species of the and different stages of the animal as well. So
Okay.
yeah, but
If you
having a
can
good.
share the Wasawa guidelines, that would be great. I'll just put it in the descriptions when we upload the video. So
Sure,
like people would,
definitely. I
yeah,
could share you the websites. I think a pet parent can have an access to it, and check the checklist, and check the label of the dog food that they are buying, and also they can have a consumer number. They can talk to the companies as well, and know the
right.
ingredients, and then they can feed the dog as well.
Perfect. Perfect. So if you have to nitpick any certain foods that we as humans consume, what not to give to your pet?
That is the most important thing,
Yeah.
because we see a lot of children mostly eating chocolates and feeding to their pets as well. So that which is the basic, I would there are many things that we should in our day to daily consumption that we take are toxic to dogs. So the first comes is the chocolate, because every
Right.
household, we now this is a summertime, we must be consuming chocolate milkshakes and chocolate ice creams and chocolates as well. So chocolates is something which contains the cocoa, and then theobromine. Sorry, my tongue is not twisting though. So they are very toxic to the dogs and cats as well. So these are the two ingredients which are very much, toxic, and we never recommend giving chocolate to the pets. And
Right.
also, this sugar-free ingredients like xylitol and stevia.
Hmm.
So, most of them, sugar-free drinks, usually persons having sugar-free ice creams, or some drinks which are sugar-free. I think that is also a serious concern, is feeding xylitol or stevia, which are there in the sugar-free ingredients. So they are also
Right.
toxic, and we should.
And if I understand right, there are alternatives that are available in pet stores these days, right? So I've seen like dog pizzas, and I've seen something like a dog beer that has come up recently. So like if you want to give your pet an experience, then you might go for these alternatives rather than using whatever is there for you as a human for your consumption. I mean, so there are like, are there any other products that we can look at to give similar kind of experiences to our pets?
Yes, that is an important question. I would recommend to go through the ingredient list.
Okay.
So that
Right.
is what is very important, because all the human grade consumables are not consumable to the pets. So please, whenever you're buying a dog cake, we celebrate the dog birthdays as well with the cake and all. So please go through
Right.
the ingredients, what they are using. I would say sugars are, there is a misconception that sugars are harmful to the dogs. No, it is not harmful. But having excess sugars is something which is an issue of concern. So, and goes with the fruits as well. When we are taking a fruit salad or something, banana, apples, they're all good to the dog, but not the grapes.
Okay.
Grapes and raisins, so we need to check the ingredient list, whatever the pizzas or cakes or whatever it is available. So whoever
Right.
is manufacturing it, we can see a lot of hype going on over the social media platforms, having all the some I would say they don't even know the, as I said, guidelines as per the NRC
Right.
or bus.
Because I've been told by a lot of people that when I see a stray dog, for an example, don't feed Parle G's to them, or don't feed Mari biscuits to them, because it can have adverse effect on their skin, and they might start facing issues that that are pretty adverse. So when it comes to that, yes, I would urge everyone to really go through the guidelines as you have said, and it will be there in the description also. My next question to you, ma'am, is how, like, we spoke about the nutrition and food. So how do we have a balanced diet, like from age to age? How can we start maintaining, like, how do we know what is the right balance of food to be given to our pets?
So right balanced diet, one thing I would like to say is we cannot formulate a balanced diet by ourselves. So I would recommend to rely on the commercially available dog food, because they are the most balanced one. And you should check with the companies that do they do the quality control, do they have their board certified nutritionist in the panel. And there are so many food companies which are, there are certain companies which manufacture the food like the same food for all stages. That is something which we should
Right.
check for that. And there are companies like they have a good R&D, they have the quality control, and they have board certified nutritionist in their panel. And they when you call to the consumer number or to email them, they feel free to provide you the details, information, the ingredients that they use, the process of manufacturing. So that is something which I would advise to educate the pet parents to, something which we are lacking in India. So that is
Right.
something we should for that is something we should look for. And as we discussed earlier, the food changes with the life stages as well, and the food changes with the dog activity as well. So if the dog is sport, if there is a sport dog or active dog, the nutritional demands are very high. And if there is a senior dog, lapping all the lapping on the floor all throughout the day,
Right.
something which doesn't need a dense nutrients.
Correct.
So
So my next question is, home cooked food or packed food? Like, what is the most preferred choice for a veterinary?
see, that is a difficult question for me, because there is a misconception that we are paid by the food companies to that is something which is
To
not true.
promote their products. Yeah.
Yes. So always a vet looks for the health of the animal, even though the financially it might be a big burden to your pockets, but ultimately a vet always looks for the nutritional requirements that are needed by the pet. Because even the extreme weather condition, like extreme heat, extreme cold, the also make the animal to have more energy requirement. So something that is something which I speak a lot to my clients, and I usually change the food depending upon the stage of the dog. And some dogs are allergic to the proteins, so that
Right.
is which called sensitivity to the protein. So that is something which I advise to shift to the novel protein, or I would advise them to go with the hypoallergic diet. So it depends, it changes from the condition to condition, from pet to the pet.
Right. But like if it is not, economically feasible for a pet parent to have packed food brought in every week or every 2 weeks, then in that case, like what are the go-to foods that we can choose? Like I know for certain that chicken is there, like dogs love chicken and their bone. So like what are such go-to foods that they can, opt for if they're not opting for packed foods?
What I'm telling. We cannot prepare homemade food. We cannot make it because, for an instance, like for an example, I would like to say that the calcium requirement is 9 times more.
Okay.
So calcium requirement is like 9 times more than a human baby, and yeah, and usually the B12, that is also 9 times more, and when it comes to the phosphorus, it is 16 times more. So we cannot formulate, basing upon the nutritional demands. So like I spoke earlier, and we cannot formulate a homemade balanced diet. It is a very difficult, but yes, you can formulate depending upon the disease condition of the dog. So if the dog is having
Right.
with some disease condition, which the dog is not advised by a veterinarian to have the regular food. Yes, but in those stages, yeah, there are some recipes that you have to concern to your talk to your concerned vet and get the advices from. But for a healthy dog or a normal dog, I would say formulating a balanced diet with the locally available ingredients or chicken roti, no, you cannot. We cannot formulate.
Got it. Got it. All right. All right. Okay, so my next question would be towards nutrients, and it's like if they're not provided in the right manner to the pets. In that case, like what are the diseases that can develop in, say, for example, dogs and cats, and how do we keep a check on that part?
Yeah, if there is any nutritionally deficiency, as I said, the skin is it's the biggest organ, of the human or animal. That is the biggest organ, and it's a sensory organ as well, and it needs more protein, usually, to maintain that hair and to maintain the epidermal barrier. So they need more protein. So when the food is deficit in protein, we can see the skin conditions, and we could see, when a puppies are fed. I can see so many pet parents feeding curd rice to the dogs, milk rice to the dogs. So those dogs are something which we can see, the muscle mass, there is less muscle mass, we could see in their bodies. So on physical examination, we find, the muscle mass is less, and there is they are not up to the I could say the body score condition is something which we usually take into consideration. So body score condition is something, important to analyze. Is the pet healthy or not? Is the nutritional
Mhm.
requirements are up to the level or not? And so lies with the as I said you earlier, if the dog is sensitive with some proteins, so at that time we need to change the food to the hypoallergic diet. And
Right.
so with the if the dog is suffering with some hepatic issues or some renal issues, kidney failure, so we
Hmm.
need to put a check on the diet. So if we feed the regular food to the dog, so the phosphorus potassium levels are something which we need to consider during the kidney issues. So at that point of time, when you feed a normal regular food, so that may be a fatal to the
That will.
animal.
And as I understand, there is a separate wet line for certain brands that that they provide, which is not usually sold at local pet shops. Might not be sold at local pet shops, but it is prescribed by the veterinarian as well.
Yes. So you need to follow the prescription diet. It depends upon the animal disease condition, and the allergies they have. Food allergies is something which is, we are seeing most food allergies. So something that which we should avoid certain kind of food, or we have to
Right.
change the normal protein to the hydrolyzed protein. So yeah, that needs to be checked by a we need to talk this to a vet when we make a visit.
Got it. Okay. Uh, okay, and now we have done with the we're done with the food part. So let us take the next step to the exercise. How important is exercise after every meal, or what are the durations that one should take their dog out for a walk, or what are the exercises for cats especially? Like how can cats exercise?
So the exercise is something which is very much important, not only for animals, even for us as well. So in order to maintain the healthy joints and healthy body condition, in order to have good hormones, we need to exercise and we need to work out on our physical day-to-day activity as well. So so this is something which is, most of the pet parents are not having time for themselves to take time, to take the dog out for a walk. So we have so many dog walkers outside, and they are
Right.
helping us to have a regular walk with our pets. So cats are something which are, we need to focus, because there are several toys, I think they're available in the market, which we can use them to have a little distract and play with them. And we can also make them, certain kind of arrangements we can make in our house, so that they can climb and they can jump off, and they can have a merry-go-round. The same comes with
Okay.
the pets, as I mean dogs as well. So
Right.
usually when it comes to the puppies, we can see a lot of zoomies. They will
Hmm.
be a certain point of time, like they are restless, they want to run, they want to chase, they want to go. So yeah, we have to, something behavior, this comes to the behavioral part, like we have to understand why the dog is having a zoomies. Most of the
Right.
pet parents come and ask me that why my dog is running like mad, I don't know what to do, please doctor treat it. No, that is not the way, because they need to that energy, that what should I say, like उनको कभी कभी ऐसा रहता है कि they want to play a lot. So
Yes.
that
Right.
that satisfaction should be there. I think you can give some they tear the papers completely,
Right.
they scratch the walls, you know so this
Right.
even the cats, they scratch the sofas. So
Yes.
yeah, scratch pads are available, so we
Is
need to
there is
make.
there any doctor? Is there anything like too much of exercise when it comes to animals?
Yeah, so we can see, when you do a lot of exercise, the breathing pattern change, there will be a change in the breathing pattern. So something like, when it comes to the brachycephalic breeds like boxers and pugs, or bulldogs. So because the nasal, the airway, whatever the passage is there, is very small and it is very short. So when they go a lot of exercise, I think they have this condition where it is difficult. They have the cardiac issues as well at that point of time. So we need to check, is it, am I going too fast, or is it burdening, having a lot of strain on my pet? Is the energy level going down? Do they want to drink water? Do they need to take a break? So this is something we should keep into consideration when we are giving an exercise, taking for a long walk or a run as well.
Right. Okay. And you said water. So my next question is about water. Like how much water should be given throughout the day and in what duration?
See, the water is something which is also an essential nutrient. So water is something which I advise to provide ad libitum. Like there is no hard and fast calculation, because we are in a tropical country. So
Right.
the season changes, the change in the seasons are more here, and we see a lot of hot and humid climate. Even though India is a diversity, we can see a lot of change in the climate condition. So I would say that, always provide a clean drinking water all the time. So try to change the water, time to time. But there is also, but one point I would like to focus is, when you are feeding the dog with a wet food, or when you are, feeding your smaller, younger puppy with a soaked food, or, the soft food, they will not drink the water.
Okay.
Yeah, so when it's just like how, if we eat some pani puri, do we like to have some water? No, because
Right. Right.
yeah, we are meeting the water requirements through, through the diet. So the same thing follows for them as well. If
Okay.
they are having a soft moist food, then yes, they will drink less water. So that is something we should keep in mind. And but
So it
please,
shouldn't scare the pet parents that why my pet is not drinking water. Shouldn't
yes,
scare
yes,
them that.
yes. Yeah, so they
Okay.
they just worry that, their pet is not drinking enough water.
Right. Okay, Dr. Swati, I think we have reached the end of the show and the interview. And I would just like to ask you, like, how was your experience answering the questions? Is there anything else that you would like to address apart from the questions that I asked you?
Yes, I would say, feeding raw food, something which, I want to empathize, I want to emphasize on, because nowadays there is a trend, that following that feeding a raw food is something which is good for the pets, because that is something which is, the natural habitat, natural something. So, yes, but feeding raw food is something which I would say is most dangerous, because raw food doesn't contain the minimum, they are deficit in calcium. The raw meat is deficit in calcium, and the phosphorus is very high, so imbalance of calcium phosphorus will lead to the improper health of the animal. So raw feeding is something, is a major issue which I see nowadays. And usually they are prone to salmonellosis, which is of zoonotic importance as well. So that is something which pet parents need to understand. And also there is a misconception that feeding puppy food to the adult dog is good for them. No, that is not. And also, like, you can feed cat food to the dog but not dog food to the cat. So that is what which I see,
Okay.
when a parent is having a cat and dog as well, so I most oftenly get questions like, can I feed, my cat food is running out, can I feed my cat the dog food? No, you cannot, because certain amino acids, dog can
All
synthesize
right.
but cats cannot. So that is something which you need to understand. And yeah, I think we are done with this. I hope I answered all your questions and queries.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I'm sure that, I learned a lot today, and I hope that I get an opportunity to bring you back on this show someday with some another topic, and we can discuss further on it. And you tell me, like, how was your experience on the show, and would you like to come back?
See, this is my something, I would say, first time. I was little nervous to be a part of this, but yeah, I think definitely
It
I
went
would
very
like.
well. To be very honest, it went very well. So
So this is something which I would like to be a part again, because I want to educate as much as I can to the pet parents regarding the basic, basic minimal things which pet parents mostly are not aware of, and I would take it as an opportunity to educate them. Yeah, I would love to be a part again.
definitely. Thank you so much for your time again, and
Thank,
I hope to see you soon. Thank you, ma'am.
thank you for having me. Bye.